You can thank Social Security for your investments doing so well. Oh my goodness, Josh, you really lost me now. You might as well just vote for the Democrats. So I'm working on my book. This is my new book I'm working on. Reverse RMD thing right here. And we're already 6 chapters in. It's going to be fun. And I started thinking, because, let me see what I said here. So I said, check this out. So this is the end of chapter 6. I said, I need to conclude this chapter talking about Social Security. Remember, what we're trying to uncover here is the likelihood your portfolio lasts as long as you do. However, in real life, you're not going to rely solely on your portfolio. You'll also have Social Security. I haven't done any editing, so you see the typos and whatnot. So let's use the example above, and to say that person who had only a 37% probability of success did indeed see their portfolio drop to 0. Have they actually ran out of money? No. There's still, and always will be, Social Security as a backstop. Yeah, you may not be eating ribeye and going to the Swiss Alps, if Social Security is your only income, but you're certainly not picking up food in the dumpster behind your local Dunkin' Donuts. That's why it's even more important to defer Social Security as long as you can. So if bad things do happen to your portfolio, your Social Security check will provide you your Social Security will provide you a bigger check than if you took it early. And a lot of people say, yeah, but if I invested my Social Security into the market, I'd be much, much richer. And what they miss, this is a point they miss. Why has your investments done so well? Well, it's earnings growth plus dividends. Oh, man. I mean, it's 100%, but why else? Because people can take more risk because they have Social Security as a backstop. Think about it. It's like we talk about if you have a pension and Social Security, you can look at that as kind of like your bond portfolio. You see what I'm saying? You can say, man, I got these other sources of income guaranteed, one of them which has a cost of living adjustment, which means I can be more aggressive on my non-guaranteed stuff because this other stuff is there, guaranteed. And because I can take the more risk, I get more return on my money. What drives stock prices? Well, ultimately, it's more buyers and sellers. This is just supply and demand. You have 10 buyers and 8 sellers. That's going to make the price of stocks go up until you get to a point. What's the point? I think non-matriculation point. An equilibrium. That's how anything works. Anything. Think about your house. We got a house that's going for the market up here. Just houses for sale. I thought they're listed too high. Apparently they didn't because it's under contract. We have 22 houses in our neighborhood. About 5 houses a year go for sale. We have a nice neighborhood. That's it. So we have how many what's the supply side? 1. What's the demand side? Well, obviously right now it's higher than the supply side because that house is going for it. They only listed like a week ago. And every single house that's ever listed there goes like 2 days. It's crazy. And even that one's, again, I don't know what the final price is, but the listing price, like, whoa, are they going to pay for that? Crazy. And that's always how price is determined. You have the number of buyers versus the number of sellers. The supply versus demand. It's just that simple. So if people are saying, I got $3,500 a month in Social Security. My portfolio is $500,000. I'll just use that for example. The worst case scenario, I'm living on $3,500 a month. I can take a little bit more risk with my portfolio, which means I'm what? I'm a buyer. I'm demand. I'm demanding. I demand more shares because I'm a buyer. Buyer and demand are the same thing. The supplier and the seller are the same. So because there's more buyers, the demand is going up relative to the sellers, the price goes up. Ultimately, you can say, hey, Social Security, investments are based on earnings growth plus dividend yield. I get that. Ultimately, and now we got to throw in stock buybacks. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what those numbers are if the buyers are lower than the sellers. And if you think about 2006, 7, 8 in the real estate market, okay. If you think about 2006, 7, 8, the sellers were much higher than the buyers. It mattered not what people paid for the price on the home. It mattered, I got to get out of here because I'm hurting a unit. I got to sell my house. Okay, all right, come here, baby. Come here. Pablo says, that's right, Dad. You tell him. Oh, yeah. I get cheese breath. I just ate some string cheese. But anyway, so that's what happened. So now we have more buyers, and we still have more buyers. And then, again, this just proves another thing, too. The facts are that a lot of people in retirement don't even need part of their portfolio. So all these people in the past are saying, oh, there's going to be a massive liquidation of stocks because retirees, more and more retirees, the baby boomers and all that. It hasn't happened. Why? Because obviously they're A, not spending enough than people had anticipated, and B, Social Security is providing them that backstop where they're like, hey, my first $3,500 a month comes from Social Security. I might need another $1,500 a month. That's $5,000 a month, but I'll get that from my portfolio. But I'll need $5,000 from my portfolio because Social Security is providing me that backstop. And in fact, if you look at Social Security, if you look at the history of it, and off the top of my head I can't remember, but the amount you got back in the 50s and 60s wasn't very much relative to I've done videos on this, relative to median earnings. It really started taking off in the mid 70s, late 60s, something like that. It really started taking off at that point. And that happened to coincide exactly with the stock market just taking off in 82, essentially. So the stock market in 82 just went out again. So we had the 50s through the mid 60s, the stock market went great. From the mid 60s to 80s, 82, it didn't do anything. From 82 on, it went freaking nuts, other than the aughts, obviously. So we've had essentially, and then before that, the stock market didn't do much. It just didn't. I mean, the stock and bond market from the 1870s until basically 1950 were identical. You should look it up. It's crazy because there was no Social Security back then. And of course, there wasn't that many investors. Very, very few people were actually investing. So the stock market that we had before is pretty much irrelevant. It just is. But anyway, the point being is when Social Security really started taking off as a serious source of income, people started getting more aggressive. They said, yeah, I can deal with a 20, 25%, 30% decline. I can. Because I have my Social Security. I do. If I didn't have my Social Security, dude, I'd be a hell of a lot more conservative. And you would too. But if my stocks would do better if I had no Social Security. I'm telling you, you wouldn't. You wouldn't because you say, no, I can't risk it, dude. I can't. Why do you think the people back in the old days, before there's really an investment market that we have now, really no mutual, there's a couple of mutual funds, Massachusetts fund, whatever, MFS, and a couple of small American funds. Why do you think those people back then, why they invested in whole life insurance? That's basically, if you look, that's basically what they invested. Executives invest in stocks, but everybody else invests in whole life insurance because it's guaranteed not to go down in value. It's guaranteed. And so they said, at least this will keep up. It won't lose any money. I'm telling you, man, it changed everything. You think your portfolio would continue on an 8, 9, 10% clip if there's no Social Security? I think you're nuts. So I was talking to these people today, these legends here locally to me, just crushing. They both have roughly $3,000 a month in Social Security. And we'll just call them John and Jane. Jane and John. I said, Jane and John, I want to point out to you one thing only. The worst case scenario that happens to you, you run out of money, investable assets, money. You have no mortgage, and you have $6,000 a month Social Security that you pay no tax on because you don't pay tax if your only income is Social Security. Do you think you could live off that and be comfortable? And the answer is unequivocally, of course. Of course. $6,000 a month. No investments. It's all down to zero. No debt. Could you live off that and be comfortable once you're 67 years old? That's the worst case scenario. Oh, but the government. All right, well, you can, keep working that, baby. If you think the government's out to get you, by all means. I think the actually opposite. The government wants you bred in circuses, right? No, it's all good. We don't want you to be riding in the street. So, oh man, my fingers smell good. I just picked some fresh strawberries from my back. Ooh, it smells good. It smells like strawberries. And talk about string cheese, stinky breath, and strawberries. Where else do you get this kind of, and a t-shirt? And it's even inside out. Where else do you get this kind of knowledge? Any other place? No. So hit the like button. Fondle the like button. Owen Benjamin. He says, why does everyone smash the like button? Hit the like button, smash the like button. How come people, Owen Benjamin's like, why not be nice to it? He said, I can't say some of the stuff he said. Fondle the like button, would you please? So we'll be going live at 8 p.m. tonight. God bless. We'll see you.